So what is the worst drug to detox from, in my opinion? As always, this is just my own personal experiences with detoxing from drugs and alcohol. I'm sure there's millions of other people with millions of other experiences. You know, this is just my own. It's not the right answer, it's not the wrong answer, it's just my own. So, let's get into it. I think the hardest drug to come off is probably methadone. Because methadone is pure heroin, you know, there's no street cut in it, there's no additives, it's just pure heroin and maybe sugar. So I think that's the worst one to come off. It's horrible. I mean, your body, it's mentally draining, it's mentally painful, it's physically painful, all your legs hurt, your back hurts, you can't keep still, you're sweating, you're sneezing, you've got a headache, you've got stomach cramps. It's horrible, and it lasts for ages. And the worst part is, for me, is not sleeping. So, you know, one day, it seems like 2 days, because you're struggling all day, and you're suffering all night as well. So, it just lasts for ages. And in a cruel twist, you feel all your senses get heightened, you know, because you're not sleeping and you're not eating. So your body's exhausted, so all your senses get heightened, so you feel everything twice as bad. So I'd say methadone's probably the worst one, followed by Valium, Xanax, and then street heroin and alcohol. My last detox was horrible, but I did it all wrong. I quit cold turkey. I was on Valium, Xanax, pregabalin, gabapentin. I was an alcoholic, and I was smoking crack every day, and I stopped it dead. Because I had no choice. I was going to die if I didn't stop. I was 7 stone heavier than what I am now. I was dying. So if I hadn't stopped then, I'd be dead now. But that's the wrong way to do it. You should taper down, do it gradually, maybe go into a rehab and do it properly. But I just didn't have time. But anyway, I got through it, and I would say that was probably the worst detox I've ever done. But it's because there was a whole list of drugs. It weren't just one. But yeah, I would say methadone's probably the worst one. But I think it's important to give both sides, you know. Drugs, it's devastating, it's hell on earth. But there have been a couple of times where I did enjoy using. Not many, it was like outweighed 1,000,000 to 1. The bad times outweighed the good times like 1,000,000 to 1. But there was a couple of times when I did appreciate having a smoke. I've never used needles. I've never touched spice, but everything else, I've probably had it. Now, when I was a heroin addict, I was absolutely skinny as out. And I'd gone like 3 days without eating, because when you're a heroin addict, you don't care about eating, you don't care about showering, you don't care about anything. All you want is money for drugs. That's what it does. It takes away all your problems and just replaces it with one problem, getting money. So I'd gone like 3 days with no food. I was absolutely starving, and I couldn't get in none of the shops to steal anything because I was banned from all the shops. And the only shop I could get in was like a shitty pound shop, and the only aisle I could get on where there was never no one there was like a sweet aisle, and it was just gummy bears and just rubbish. But I thought, I've got to have some. So I went in, and they had chocolate Brazils, boxes of them. So I thought, I'll grab them. So I grabbed like 5 boxes of chocolate Brazils, and I've got home, and I was so starving, I just scoffed a lot. 5 boxes of chocolate Brazils, and I didn't know back then that if you eat too many Brazil nuts, you can poison yourself. You can get like a anabolic bloody shock poison or something, and that's exactly what happened. Like a couple hours later, I was in agony. I had heroin there, but I couldn't use it because I was so ill. I grabbed the bin next to me, I was puking in the bin, I was literally on the floor, curled up in a ball in agony. Now any heroin addict will tell you, what the right thing, what I should have done is phoned an ambulance, but heroin addicts will tell you, that's the last thing that you want to do, because why phone an ambulance when you could be smoking heroin, you know you've got to go to the hospital that you're not going to be able to use. So they just don't, you never bother phoning an ambulance unless like one of your arms has fell off, something like that. So I just laid there, I just sat there, I thought I'll do what I always do and just ride it out. And I was in agony, man. I couldn't, I was just curled up in a ball. I thought my stomach had ruptured or something. And I was puking, I was so ill. I thought, I've got to go to bed, man. And no lie, it took me like probably about an hour just to get up the stairs and crawl into bed. That's how bad I was. It was like I was exhausted. I was sick as out. And I crawled into my bed and just crashed and passed out. And the next morning, I slept for like 24 hours. And then I woke up and straight away I was detoxing from heroin because I'd not used, because I'd slept for such a long time. And I still had stomach ache, like you need a crap, when heroin wears away. But, so I needed the toilet really bad. And I've gone to the toilet, and when you're a heroin addict, I don't know the science behind it, but it makes you constipated, it makes you poo like rock hard little pebbles all stuck together. And I don't know why it does that, but it does. And I was on the toilet, I really needed to have a crap. But it was like I had diarrhea, but I couldn't go because I was constipated, so I was like stuck in the middle. And then when I finally could go, it was like a big chunk all stuck together, and it was too big to come out. So I was sat on the toilet like, Ugh! And it was like inching out little by little, and it was so painful. It was like giving birth. I was in agony. And I was sat on it. It took me about 45 minutes to finally have a crap, and it was like a little bit inching out each time. I was like, oh man, it was so painful. I know what women feel like when they give birth now. But anyway, eventually, after like 45 minutes of trying to have a crap, eventually I had one, and it was like, hallelujah. Man, it was such a great feeling to finally get it out, and it was, oh man, it was so painful. And I remember after that, all the stomach ache had gone, the pain had gone, and I just went back to my bedroom, just sat on the bed, picked my gear up, and I was just like, it was beautiful. It was the nicest boot I've ever had, just to make me feel normal. And that's the reality of drugs. There was another time when I'd been in the police cells for like 3 days, and I finally went up to court. I'd got caught shoplifting whilst I was on bail, which means straight to jail. You're not getting bail if you've offended whilst you're on bail. So I'm in the cells for like 3 days. Took me down to the court. Solicitor says, yeah, you're not going to get bail. You know the dance. And I says, yeah, I know. And we went up into court, and they was talking about it being just a breach of bail. They didn't even mention me getting caught pinching whilst I was on bail. I don't know why. But I looked over to my solicitor, and he went, and I thought, aye, what's happening here? And somehow they'd got the paperwork mixed up, I don't know. But they didn't bring it up. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to get out here. And they took me down. The group 4 blokes says, how did you manage to wangle that? I said, no idea, mate. I thought, there's no way they're going to let me out. And we got to the door. I thought, no way, there's going to be someone on the other side. It's going to be a copper or something. They opened the door and they let me out. I was like, no way. They messed up my paperwork. So I got bail, but I was really ill because I'd been in the cells for like 3 days. And I had some money, so I phoned a dealer. I says, can you meet me? I'm dying here. Well, he says, yeah, it'll be about 45 minutes. I was like, oh no, 45 minutes. So I says, all right, I'm good here now. I'll just be as quick as you can. And I walked through Snicket. I was so ill. I was gipping. I was puking. And I got to the pub where I was meeting him, and he came straight away. I was like, no way. And he says, oh, you're lucky. Someone cancelled who was in this area. I was like, yes. Got home, and I could hardly smoke it because I was so ill. Every time I tried to have a line, I was puking and gipping. So I couldn't get it in me at first, but after like 3 or 4 lines, finally managing to smoke it, I got that warm feeling, all the pain went away. I was like, and I really enjoyed that boot. The only way I can explain having a boot is like, imagine like you're playing a game, like a horror fantasy game, and you're low on health, you're limping because you've took damage, and then you get a healing potion. And you drink that healing potion and your life goes up, and you go back to normal and you're back to full strength. That's what it feels like. It's like drinking a magical potion, except you smoke it. And yeah, so that's it. That's the story for today. I hate calling them stories. That's the anecdote for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Press the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Au revoir.